Imagine you're standing at a crossroads in your life where a single sentence, spoken with the right intent, could shift the way someone sees you forever. Not because of your looks, your job, or your bank account, but because your words touched something deeper, their soul. What if I told you that the power to create that moment isn't about charm or tricks, but about understanding the timeless art of human connection, rooted in the wisdom of Stoicism and the pursuit of self-mastery? Welcome to Zen Light, where we don't just talk about improving your life, we give you the tools to live with purpose, clarity, and unshakable confidence. Today, we're diving into 6 phrases that can spark curiosity, build emotional bonds, and make you unforgettable, not just in romance, but in every interaction. These aren't pickup lines, they're principles forged in psychology and philosophy, designed to make you a man who doesn't chase, but attracts naturally. Stick with us to the end, because I'm not just sharing words. I'm handing you a blueprint to transform how you show up in the world. By the time this video's over, you'll walk away with practical wisdom you can use today, whether you're at a coffee shop, a boardroom, or a first date. So hit that subscribe button, join our Zen Light 8 community, and let's embark on this journey to become the best version of yourself. Picture this. You're sitting across from someone, maybe at a dimly lit cafe, the hum of conversation around you, and in a single moment you say something that makes their eyes light up. Not because you flattered them, but because you saw them, really saw them, for who they are. That's the power of words, my friend. And it's not about being a smooth talker. It's about speaking from a place of clarity, intention, and emotional depth. On Zen Light, we believe words are more than sounds. They're bridges to the soul, tools to forge connections that linger long after the conversation ends. But why do some words spark attraction while others fall flat? Let's unravel this, weaving in the wisdom of Stoicism and the art of self-improvement. Because when you master this, you don't just win hearts. You become a man who commands respect and leaves a legacy of impact. Words carry weight because they reflect who you are. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Speak only what is true and necessary." That's the first lesson. Most men, in their eagerness to impress, drown their words in noise, empty compliments, nervous chatter, or rehearsed lines. You've heard it before. "You're so beautiful," or "You look nice tonight." These phrases aren't bad, but they're forgettable. Why? Because they skim the surface. They don't reach the heart. Women, like all of us, crave recognition, not just attention. They want to feel seen for their essence, their passions, their quirks, their fire. When you say something generic, you're signaling you haven't paid attention. You're just another guy in the crowd. But when you speak with precision, when your words cut through the noise and touch something real, you create a moment that echoes. That's attraction, not just romantic, but human. It's the spark that makes someone lean in, curious, wondering what else you see that others miss. Let's ground this in a story. A few years back, I was at a friend's dinner party in Chicago. Across the table was a woman named Sarah, a lawyer with a sharp wit and a quiet intensity. The conversation flowed, but most guys at the table were tripping over themselves to compliment her looks or her career. She smiled politely, but her eyes were distant. Then, during a lull, she shared a story about volunteering at a youth center, her voice softening as she described a kid who'd finally opened up to her. The table moved on, but I didn't. Later, as we grabbed coffee from the kitchen, I looked at her and said, "The way you light up when you talk about those kids, it's rare. It says something about who you are." No exaggeration, no flattery, just truth. Her smile wasn't polite this time, it was real. She leaned in, asked me what I meant, and we talked for hours. That moment wasn't about romance, it was about connection. My words didn't chase her approval, they honored her essence. That's the Stoic principle of living authentically. Speak what's true and let the rest fall into place. So why do shallow words fail? Psychology backs this up. Studies, like those from the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, show that people are drawn to those who validate their core identity, not just their appearance. When you say, "You're pretty," you're commenting on something fleeting, something she's heard 1,000 times. But when you notice her passion, her courage, or the way she laughs at her own bad jokes, you're touching her soul. You're saying, I see you, and what I see matters. That creates what psychologists call a curiosity loop. Her mind starts spinning. What else does he notice? Why does he see me this way? That curiosity isn't just attraction, it's investment. She's no longer just listening, she's engaging, wondering, connecting. And that, my friend, is where the magic happens. But here's the catch. Words alone aren't enough. Stoicism teaches us that virtue lies in action, not intention. Your words must be backed by presence. If you say something profound but your eyes are darting, your voice is shaky, or you're fishing for approval, the impact crumbles. Think of it like a sword. A blade is only as strong as the hand that wields it. Your hand is your confidence, your clarity, your groundedness. When you speak, stand tall. Let your voice carry the calm of a man who knows his worth. Pause after your words. Don't rush to fill the silence. That pause is powerful. It's the space where her emotions catch up, where she feels the weight of what you've said. I learned this the hard way. Early on, I'd blurt out compliments, then backtrack, worried I'd said too much. The result? Awkwardness. But when I slowed down, when I spoke with intention and let the moment breathe, everything changed. People didn't just hear me, they felt me. Now, let's make this practical. You don't need to be a poet to speak with impact. Start small. Next time you're in a conversation, listen deeply. Don't just wait for your turn to talk. Really hear what the other person is saying. If they share something meaningful, a dream, a fear, a moment of pride, pause. Look them in the eye and say something true. Maybe it's, I respect how you keep pushing forward despite the odds. Or, there's something real about the way you tell that story. Don't overthink it. Just speak from the heart and let the Stoic principle of simplicity guide you. Over time, this becomes second nature. You'll notice people respond differently. They'll open up more, trust you faster, remember you longer. That's not manipulation, it's mastery. It's the art of living with intention, of using words to build bridges, not walls. This isn't just about romance either. These principles apply everywhere. At work, when you acknowledge a colleague's quiet dedication, you earn respect. With friends, when you notice their growth, you deepen bonds. Even with strangers, a single thoughtful word can shift their day. I was at a gas station last month, tired after a long drive, when the cashier made a quick joke about the weather. Instead of nodding and moving on, I said, "You've got a knack for making people smile, even at 7 a.m. Her face lit up, and we ended up chatting for a minute. That moment didn't change the world, but it changed her morning, and mine. That's the ripple effect of intentional words. They don't just create attraction, they create meaning. So, as we move forward, hold this truth. Your words are a reflection of your character. Speak with purpose, not to impress, but to connect. Let Stoicism guide you. Focus on what's in your control, like your presence and your truth, and let go of the outcome. In the next part, we'll dive into the first of 6 phrases that embody this philosophy, a phrase so subtle yet so powerful, it can make someone see you in a new light. But before we go there, take a moment. Reflect on a time when someone's words touched you deeply. What made them stick? That's the power we're unlocking today, and it starts with you. Now that we've laid the foundation, let's step into the heart of this journey, the first of 6 phrases that can shift how someone perceives you, not just in a moment, but for days, maybe even years. This isn't about memorizing lines. It's about embodying a mindset, one rooted in Stoic authenticity and the courage to see others deeply. The first phrase is simple, yet it carries the weight of 1,000 unspoken truths. You have a unique way about you. I like that. These 9 words, when spoken with intention, aren't just a compliment, they're a mirror, reflecting someone's essence back to them in a way that makes them feel truly seen. Let's unpack why this phrase is so powerful, how to use it, and how it can transform not just your conversations, but your entire approach to life. Imagine you're at a bookstore in Seattle, browsing the philosophy section, and you strike up a conversation with someone. They're flipping through a copy of Meditations, and as they talk about why they love Stoicism, their eyes light up with a quiet passion. Most people would nod, maybe say, "That's cool," and move on. But you pause, you listen. You notice the way their voice softens when they mention a quote that got them through a tough time. Later, as you're both grabbing coffee nearby, you look at them and say, "You have a unique way about you. I like that." You don't rush the words. You let them hang in the air, your voice steady, your gaze calm. In that moment, something shifts. Their smile deepens. They lean in, curious, maybe even a little vulnerable. Why? Because you didn't just compliment their taste in books. You honored something deeper, something most people overlook. This phrase works because it's not about flattery. It's about recognition. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what's true, to strip away excess and get to the core. When you say, "You have a unique way about you," you're doing just that. You're not praising their looks or their job, things they've heard a million times. You're noticing their essence, the way they carry themselves, the spark in their laugh, the intensity in their stories. That's rare. Most people, especially women, feel invisible on an emotional level. Sure, they get attention for their appearance, but how often does someone see the fire in their soul? When you do, you're not just speaking. You're creating a moment. You're saying, "I see you, and what I see is extraordinary." That's the kind of validation that lingers, that makes someone think about you long after you're gone. Let's go deeper with a real story. Last summer, I was at a community event in Austin, helping set up a charity run. There was a woman named Emma, a volunteer who organized the kids' activities. She wasn't loud or flashy, but there was something about her. She moved with purpose, laughing easily with the kids, calming a nervous parent with a few quiet words. Later, as we cleaned up, she mentioned how much she loved seeing the kids' faces light up during the race. I didn't say much at first, just listened. Then, as we walked back to the parking lot, I said, "You have a unique way about you, Emma. The way you make everyone feel at ease. It's special." I didn't overplay it, just spoke the truth. Her reaction was subtle but powerful. Her eyes softened, and she said, "No one's ever said that to me before." We ended up talking for another hour, not because I was trying to impress her, but because that moment opened a door. She felt seen, and that created trust, connection, a spark. Psychologically, this phrase is a masterclass in creating attraction. It triggers what researchers call self-expansion, the desire to grow closer to someone who sees and values your core identity. When you highlight someone's uniqueness, you're not just making them feel good, you're inviting them to share more of themselves. That's why the phrase is vague yet specific. By saying a unique way about you, you leave room for their imagination. They start wondering, what did he mean? Was it my energy, my humor, my passion? That curiosity keeps you in their mind. It's not manipulation, it's magnetism. You're planting a seed that grows into connection because you've shown you're paying attention, not just coasting through the conversation. But here's where Stoicism comes in. You can't fake this. If you say these words without meaning them, they'll fall flat. The Stoic principle of integrity demands you speak from truth. So how do you use this phrase authentically? First, listen deeply. Don't just hear words. Watch for the moments when someone reveals who they are. Maybe it's the way they get animated about their favorite book, or the quiet strength in their voice when they talk about a challenge they've overcome. Second, wait for the right moment. Don't throw this phrase out casually. Use it when the conversation feels real, when they've shared something meaningful. Third, deliver it with presence. Look them in the eye. Let your voice carry the calm confidence of a man who doesn't need approval. Say it slowly, like you're savoring the truth you've just discovered. And then, this is key, pause. Don't rush to explain or soften it. Let the silence do its work. That pause is where the magic happens, where they feel the weight of your words. This isn't just for romance. This phrase, and the mindset behind it, can transform any relationship. At work, imagine saying to a colleague, You have a unique way of solving problems. I respect that. You've just built trust. With a friend, try. You have a unique way of making people feel included. It's rare. You've deepened a bond. The principle is universal. When you see someone's essence and honor it with truth, you create connection. That's Stoic self-improvement in action. Living with intention, focusing on what's in your control, and letting go of the need to be liked. Let's make it practical for today's world. You're not always going to be at a bookstore or a charity event. Maybe you're on a dating app where words are your only tool. If someone shares a story in their messages, say, about a trip that changed them, don't just reply, "That's cool." Take a beat. Right. You have a unique way of telling that story. I can feel how much it meant to you. It's not flashy, but it's real. Or maybe you're at a bar and someone makes a quick, clever joke. Instead of laughing and moving on, catch their eye and say, "You have a unique way about you. I like that." Watch what happens. They'll light up. Not because you flattered them, but because you saw them. In a world of swipes and shallow chats, that kind of presence is a superpower. One last thought before we move on. This phrase isn't about getting something from others. It's about giving. When you speak these words, you're offering a gift, the gift of being seen. That's why Stoicism matters here. It's not about the outcome, whether they like you, date you, or remember you. It's about living virtuously, about being a man who brings light to others without expecting anything in return. When you live that way, attraction follows naturally, not because you chased it, but because you became it. As we continue, we'll explore the next phrase, a subtle challenge that flips the dynamic and makes you unforgettable. But for now, reflect. When was the last time you truly saw someone? That's where this journey begins. As we journey deeper into the art of connection, let's shift our focus from words to the silent language that speaks louder than any phrase, your presence. On Zen Light, we're not just about what you say, it's about how you show up in the world. Stoicism teaches us that true strength lies in mastering what's within our control, and nothing embodies that more than your body language and your ability to navigate life's tricky moments with grace. Picture this. You're in a conversation. You've just said something powerful like, "You have a unique way about you," and the other person leans in, intrigued. But if your shoulders are slumped, your eyes are darting, or you're fidgeting, that moment loses its magic. Your words may be gold, but your presence is the fire that makes them shine. Today we're diving into the unspoken tools of attraction, body language, tone, and the stoic calm that lets you handle tough situations without losing your center. These skills don't just amplify your words, they make you a man who commands respect, no matter the room. Let's start with body language, the canvas on which your words are painted. Imagine you're at a networking event in New York, surrounded by sharp minds and big egos. You're talking to someone, and you notice they're not just listening to your words, they're watching you. Your posture, your gestures, the way you hold their gaze. These are the signals that tell them who you are before you even open your mouth. Stoicism calls us to embody virtue, and in this context, that means standing tall, not out of arrogance, but out of self-respect. Keep your shoulders back, your chest open, like you're ready to embrace the world. Don't cross your arms, it signals defensiveness. Instead, let your hands rest naturally, maybe gesturing lightly to emphasize a point. This isn't about being stiff or performative, it's about owning your space. I learned this lesson at a conference a few years ago. I was nervous, slouching, avoiding eye contact. My words were solid, but people's responses were lukewarm. Then I met a mentor who pulled me aside and said, "Stand like you belong here because you do." I straightened up, looked people in the eye, and suddenly, the same words landed differently. Presence isn't magic, it's intention. Eye contact is your next tool, and it's a game changer. In a world where everyone's glued to their phones, holding someone's gaze is an act of courage. It says, "I'm here, and I'm with you." But there's a balance. Too little eye contact and you seem distracted or insecure. Too much and it feels intense, almost aggressive. Aim for the sweet spot. Hold their gaze for a few seconds, then break it naturally, maybe with a slight smile. Practice this. Next, time you're at a coffee shop, try holding the barista's gaze when you say thank you. Notice how it feels. I did this experiment last month at a diner in Denver. The server was rushed, barely looking up, but when I said, "Thanks for the great service," and held her gaze for a moment, she paused, smiled, and said, "You're welcome." That tiny moment wasn't about attraction. It was about connection. Eye contact builds trust, and trust is the foundation of every meaningful interaction. Your voice is another weapon in your arsenal. Stoicism teaches us to speak with clarity and purpose, and your tone is how you bring that to life. A strong voice isn't loud. It's steady, warm, and grounded. Think of it like a river, deep, flowing, unshaken by the rocks in its path. Avoid rushing your words or letting your voice trail off. It signals uncertainty. Instead, let each sentence land with weight. Try this. Record yourself saying, "You have a unique way about you." Play it back. Does it sound like you mean it? If not, slow down, lower your pitch slightly, and say it again. I used to have a high nervous tone in conversations, especially when I was trying to impress someone. It wasn't until I practiced speaking from my chest with calm confidence that people started responding differently. At a recent team meeting, I shared an idea with a steady tone, pausing to let it sink in. The room went quiet, not out of boredom, but out of respect. Your voice isn't just sound, it's presence. Now, let's talk about handling tough situations, because life isn't always smooth. Imagine you're on a date and you say, "I like women who know what they want," with a playful smile. But instead of leaning in, she crosses her arms and says, "Oh, really? What's that supposed to mean?" Most guys would panic, backtrack, or get defensive. But Stoicism teaches us to stay calm, to focus on what we control, our response. Don't take the bait. Instead, keep your cool, maybe tilt your head slightly and say, "Just that I respect people who go after what they believe in. What about you? What drives you?" You've done 3 things here. You've stayed grounded, you've clarified your intent without apologizing, and you've turned the conversation back to her. This isn't about winning an argument. It's about maintaining your dignity. Had a moment like this at a bar last year. A woman I was chatting with teased me, saying, "You seem like you're trying too hard." Instead of getting flustered, I laughed, looked her in the eye, and said, "Maybe, but I'm just being me. What's your story?" Her guard dropped, and we ended up talking for an hour. The key? I didn't let her reaction shake me. Here's a practical framework for tough moments, rooted in Stoic principles. First, pause. Don't react impulsively. Give yourself a second to breathe. Second, assess. What's really happening? Is she testing you, or is she genuinely upset? Third, respond with clarity and kindness. Don't attack or retreat. Redirect. For example, if someone challenges your phrase, "I don't know if you can handle me," with a sarcastic, "Oh, please," don't double down or shrink. Smile, say, "Hey, I just mean I bring a lot to the table. What about you? What's your vibe?" You've kept the energy light, stayed true to yourself, and invited her to engage. This works beyond romance. At work, if a colleague snaps at your idea, pause, then say, "I hear you. What's your take on this?" You're not surrendering, you're leading with composure. Let's tie this to modern life. In today's world, where distractions are constant, your presence is your edge. Whether you're on a Zoom call, a first date, or just grabbing drinks with friends, how you carry yourself matters. Practice standing tall, even when you're alone. Try holding eye contact a little longer in casual interactions. Record your voice and refine your tone. And when things get tense, whether it's a heated debate or a flirty challenge, lean on Stoic calm. Focus on your breath, your intent, your truth. These habits don't just make you more attractive, they make you more resilient. They turn you into a man who doesn't just survive life's chaos, but thrives in it. One final story before we move on. I was at a friend's wedding in Miami last spring, and during the reception, I noticed a woman sitting alone, watching the dance floor with a quiet smile. I walked over, introduced myself, and we started talking. She was shy at first, but when she mentioned her love for painting, her whole demeanor changed. She lit up. I could have said, "That's cool." But instead I leaned in, held her gaze, and said, "The way you talk about painting, it's like you're sharing a piece of your soul." My voice was steady, my posture open, and I let the silence linger. She blushed, laughed, and opened up about her art for the next half hour. That moment wasn't about charm, it was about presence. It was about showing up fully, without agenda, and letting connection unfold. That's the Stoic way. Be present, be true, and let the rest follow. As we continue, we'll wrap up with a challenge to put these skills into action. But first, ask yourself, how do you show up in your toughest moments? That's where your growth begins. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the power of words to the silent strength of your presence. But knowledge isn't power until you put it into action. On Zen Light 8, we don't just want you to hear these ideas, we want you to live them, to feel the shift they create in your life. Stoicism teaches us that the path to virtue is through practice, not theory. So, as we wrap up this journey, I'm giving you a challenge, a real actionable step to take in the next 7 days. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about becoming a man who doesn't just dream of connection, but creates it, one intentional moment at a time. And when you do, you'll see the world respond differently. Let's dive into this final piece, weave in some Stoic wisdom, and end with a call to join our Zen Light 8 community, because together, we're building something bigger than ourselves. Here's your challenge. Over the next week, pick one of the tools we've discussed. Either a phrase like, "You have a unique way about you," or a body language habit like holding eye contact, and use it in a real conversation. Don't overthink it. It could be with a coworker, a friend, a stranger at the grocery store, or someone you're interested in. The goal isn't to get a specific outcome, it's to practice showing up with intention. Let's say you choose the phrase. Wait for a moment when someone reveals something real. Maybe a barista mentions they're studying for a big exam, or a friend shares a small win. Pause, look them in the eye, and say, "You have a unique way about you. I like that." Or adapt it. There's something special about how you keep pushing through. Say it with calm confidence, then let the moment breathe. Don't worry about their reaction. Stoicism reminds us to focus on our actions, not others' responses. Your job is to speak truth and move on. If you choose body language, try this. For one day, focus on standing tall and holding eye contact a little longer than usual. Notice how it feels. Does it make you more present? Do people respond differently? I did this challenge myself last week. I was at a hardware store in Portland, buying paint for a home project. The cashier was chatty, joking about how I must be a DIY pro. Normally, I'd laugh and move on, but I decided to practice. I stood straight, held his gaze, and said, "You've got a knack for making this place feel welcoming." My voice was steady, and I let the silence linger. He grinned, said, "Man, thanks. That means a lot." And we ended up swapping stories about home renovations for a few minutes. That moment wasn't life-changing, but it was real. It reminded me that small acts of presence ripple outward, creating connection in ways we can't predict. Why does this challenge matter? Because growth happens in the doing. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Most men hesitate to try new things because they fear looking foolish or being rejected. But here's the truth. The only failure is staying stuck. Every time you step out of your comfort zone, you build confidence. You become a man who doesn't just react to life, but shapes it. And in today's world where distractions pull us apart, these moments of connection are rare. Whether you're navigating a dating app, a job interview, or a family dinner, the ability to show up fully, words, presence, and all, sets you apart. It's not about being perfect. It's about being present. Let's make it practical for modern life. If you're on a dating app, don't just swipe and send generic messages. When someone shares something meaningful in their profile, say, "A love for hiking." Don't reply, "Cool, I like hiking too." Take a moment, write, There's something about the way you describe hiking, like it's more than a hobby for you. What's your favorite trail? That's not a line, it's a bridge. Or if you're at work, try acknowledging a colleague's effort with intention. Instead of, "Good job," say, "The way you handled that project under pressure was impressive." Stand tall, hold their gaze, and mean it. These small acts compound over time, turning you into someone who doesn't just exist, but impacts. Now, let's talk about the bigger picture. On Zen Light 8, we're not just sharing tips. We're building a community of men who want to live with purpose. Every time you watch, share, or comment, you're helping us reach more people who need this wisdom. Men who are tired of feeling invisible, stuck, or unsure. Men who are ready to rise. So, I'm asking you to do two things. First, hit that subscribe button. Join our Zen Light 8 family. Because this channel is about more than videos. It's about a movement. Second, take this challenge and share your story in the comments. Did you try the phrase? How did it feel to hold eye contact? What happened? When you showed up with intention? Your story might inspire someone else to take that first step. And trust me, I read every comment. I want to hear from you. As we close, let's reflect on one final Stoic truth. Life is short, but its depth is in your hands. Every conversation, every interaction is a chance to live virtuously, to be a man who sees others, who speaks truth, who stands tall no matter the storm. In today's world, where noise drowns out meaning, your presence is your power. So go out there. Try the challenge. Speak with intention. Stand with confidence. And watch how the world shifts around you. Not because you chased it, but because you became it. Thank you for being part of Zen Light 8. Keep growing, keep shining, and I'll see you in the next video.